What's going on, everybody? You know what day it is. It's time for your next dose of Warrior Wednesday with your host, that Wounded Warrior guy. That's me. And today we're going to be going over our final part of our 7-part series on what to expect once the MEB process has concluded and you get ready to integrate back in to the civilian world. Today we're going to be discussing budgeting, how to budget, why it's important, and how it pertains to this series. So, how to budget. First thing that you want to do is you want to assess your financial situation, determine what your income is after taxes, because that's your available income. Then you need to write down all of your expenses, subtract your expenses from your available income, and that is your available, that is the remainder that you have left that you can allocate to different things to, go towards different goals. So, when we decide to budget, budgeting is something, in my opinion, that is a goal-oriented task, meaning you are allotting money for a desired goal. Now, I think one confusion a lot of people have is that when they don't have a specific financial goal, they don't save money. And in my opinion, you should always be saving money and you should always be investing money. Because if for some reason there is some sort of emergency, an unforeseen death, or major illness that requires, financial responses, it's good to have that money sitting there. And it's always good to put aside, and I know that what I'm saying is like common sense. I get that. But I believe that a lot of people do not prep for these things. Most people only budget when they are allotting money for a specific thing. So, for an example, let's say that you make X amount of dollars every single month and you spend X amount of dollars every single month. If you happen to not spend it all, great. If you do spend it all, it doesn't matter. Then, next month, you get X amount of dollars and you think to yourself, oh, well, last month I didn't spend all my money. So this month, I'll get to take that money and go do something really nice for myself. And so you have increased your savings just to turn around and spend it all the very next month. I see people do that a lot. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody's entitled to live their own lives, and I'm not going to try to talk somebody out of treating themselves well or you spending their money. You worked for that money, you earned that money. Go do what you want with it. Whatever. All I'm saying is that, in my opinion, that's not the safest way to plan, and that is not the most stable way to create a stable environment for yourself. In my opinion, what you should be doing is you should always understand how much money is coming in, what the automatic expenses are, how much money you're going to have left over, and there should always be a percentage of that adjusted income that is allotted towards something else. You can, redirect that income into savings, into CDs, into investments, into stocks, all things that can grow over time and can be that financial blanket in case there's an emergency, an illness, a death in the family, something that requires a financial response. And if you don't have that there, that can put an extreme strain on an individual, on relationships, on marriages, on family structure. And I don't want to, everybody knows this, but finances are the number one stress inducing factor in the world. And it's because people do not put enough attention, focus, and energy into balancing out their finances, into taking it seriously. So I prefaced this video with that. And I'm just going to tell you guys how I do my finances. You can use that strategy. You don't have to. There's a couple strategies we'll go over. I'm going to give you guys how I do it, which is, there's multiple ways that I do it depending on like how far out the financial goal is. But anytime that I decide to budget money for a specific goal outside of savings and investments, what I do is I sit down and I calculate what my available income is every month. And available income is your income after taxes. Then what I do is I write down every single one of my expenses, no matter how many payments are left on those expenses. For example, let's say that I financed a television, only owed 5 payments over the course of the next 5 months on that television. I am still going to include the expenses of that television in my financial budget for that specific goal. Then what I will do is I will put in the date that expense will be retracted from my list of expenses in the calendar. When that comes up in the calendar, I will reassess my financial situation to restructure my plan for that specific goal. That's how I do a lot of my budgeting, my goal-oriented budgeting. And basically, what I try to do is I try to keep my total expenses to be less than 50% of my available income so that I still have 50% left of available income, which is my adjusted income, to go towards savings, to go towards investments, to go towards goal-oriented actions and tasks. That means that I have automatic contributions. They go towards my personal savings, automatic contributions that go towards my family's investments, CDs, stocks, things like that. Then, whatever is left over, whatever I can contribute at the end of all of that is my current financial goal, my financial task, the next thing that I'm trying to accomplish. Right now, my family's financial goal is to purchase a home. So, once all those things are taken care of, we're still adding to our personal savings. We're still accruing interest on all of our investments. And we're allotting money towards a separate fund for a home. All of that stuff is separate. All of it's different. Then, once we get to the point to where we have that money, what we do is we set that allotment aside. And whatever was going towards that will continue to funnel in to either our savings, investments, or personal use, okay? That's going to be like any of the spillover. Once all your goals are taken care of, the spillover can be used for date nights, for Uber Eats, for nice clothes, those types of things. But you have to have the discipline when setting a budget to cut and trim the additional non-essential expenses, because by doing that, you would be amazed at the increase in available income that you then have to allocate to your goals, which will result in completing those goals and those tasks in a much shorter period of time. That's how I budget my money. That's how I create financial plans. And that's how I follow my investments. Now, real world scenario, pertaining to this channel, pertaining to this series, you're a soldier, you get injured, you're at the Wounded Warrior barracks. You have an estimated time frame of 18 months before you get your disability percentage, before you get separated from the military, and you're told to move on with your life. I can't count on all my fingers and all my toes how many soldiers I've seen leave the Wounded Warrior barracks with nothing more than the most recent paycheck that they received. And I can tell you guys, depending on what your goals are or what your next actions in life are, that's not going to cut it. I can tell you guys, I'm pretty good at financially planning. I do tend to buy nicer things, not extravagant things, but I tend to buy new stuff. I tend to buy nice things. I want my family to have decent things. It probably cost me and my wife, on a budget, we moved to a state we'd never lived, into a brand new apartment that we fully furnished and that I painted. That cost ballpark $20,000, ballpark-ish. Maybe a little bit less, maybe like 17.5, something like that. And we saved to prep for that, to prep for the move. I think we put together a budget of $35,000 is just kind of what we put together. Just to have it there, because we didn't want to spend it all. We wanted to make sure we weren't going to deplete our savings all the way. We went out and I financed a vehicle. When my wife got down here about 6 months later, we financed her a vehicle. That cost money because we put nice down payments on both of them. So yeah, we did all those things. We had to set aside that money, and we had to create that budget so far in advance, because it takes time to put together that kind of money. But what I'll say is, let's say you're an E4, you get injured, you're staying in the barracks, Wounded Warrior barracks, you got 18 months until you get out. You should have no problem putting together $30,000. Your food's taken care of, your shelter's taken care of, you don't need a vehicle, unless you already have one, which, can go towards expenses. But let's say you don't have a vehicle. You don't need a vehicle right away. And you can just save money. Just save money. You know how many soldiers I know that 2 months into their injury, they bought a $70,000 truck? More than 3. Do you know how many soldiers I know that never seem to get nice things, yet always seem to be broke? Several. It comes down to discipline, and it comes down to setting healthy habits. When you're getting ready to advance into such an important stage in your life, because when you get injured in the military, you move back into the civilian world, you were on your own. You're all by yourself. I mean, obviously, if you're married, if you have a family, you're in it together. But you're on your own. You can't go up to your NCO and, ask for help. You can't go, whatever. all of that is no longer available. You know, you can't come home to the barracks that's free and stay there. The DFAC's not going to be open for you anymore. You have to set a budget, and you have to set it early, and you have to create those healthy habits and that discipline to do it all the way through. Every single month, tell yourself you're going to save so much money to get to a specific goal. And what I used when I was in Walter Reed in the Wounded Warrior Barracks is I decided how much money I wanted to have aside from my savings that I currently had. So when I set the goal, I did not include the money I'd already saved because I had already started a nest egg for several things. Like by that point, I had already started a nest egg for my future children. I had already started a nest egg for home improvements when I buy a home in 5 years. Okay? All that stuff stays where it is. I start from ground zero when I create a new goal. I don't pull in money from all of our other savings and say, oh, it's here. No, that's for other stuff. You start at ground zero. And what I use, and you can Google this, is called the present value formula. It's a real easy formula as long as you have a little cheap TI calculator. Matter of fact, most phones do it now. Just open up the calculator, turn your phone sideways. It turns into a full Texas Instrument calculator. You have all the options available. All you do is you take how much money you currently have, which can be zero. Doesn't matter. You take how much money you currently have and you use the formula. You determine how much money you want. You take how much money you have, and then you basically just solve for the difference. So you can look it up, and there's a ton of YouTube videos that teach you how to do this. It's a real simple formula. All you need to know, how much money you want, how much money you have, and how much time you're giving yourself to get to how much money you want. That will tell you at what percentage your money needs to grow every month or every year in order to get to that desired value in that specific amount of time. Then it's real simple. Like let's say that you've already started saving, right? You have $10,000, okay? And you do that formula, and it says that you need to increase by 18% every month to get to this goal in however many months. All you're going to do is you're going to take 0.18 and you're going to multiply that by $10,000. That's $1,800. So every month you need to contribute $1,800 into your savings to get to that desired goal in whatever time frame you gave yourself. That's just an example. That's an example on how you calculate it once you've done the formula. So let's say that you have $10,000. You plug your values into that formula and you have this desired amount of money that you want in this desired amount of time. And it says that all you got to do is save 6% for the next however many months every month. 6%. Okay. We're going to type in 0.06, multiply that by $10,000. That's $600. All you got to do is save $600 a month. Okay? What is the going average for the E4 at the barracks? And don't forget, guys, when you're wounded, you can apply for Social Security disability, and that is an additional set amount of income that you get every single month. So like my Social Security, I get $1,200 every single month. Yes, $1,200 every single month. You can start doing that as soon as you get injured. As soon as you start the MEB process, you can apply for Social Security disability. So let's say that you're getting $1,200 a month on top of your paycheck every month. And all you got to do is save $600 a month for the next 18 months to get to whatever goal that you want. Now, just using that as an example, let's say that you started out with $10,000 because you actually saved a little bit of money while you were in, and you have no specific goal for that money, whatever. Let's just say, okay, so you have $10,000. I know I said I start from ground zero, but that's because all of my money goes other places. Let's say that you had that $10,000 that you had been saving just for no reason, and you are going to save $600 a month for the next 18 months. You would have $20,000, $20,800. That's what you would have. So you would double your money in 18 months just by saving half of what you could potentially get from Social Security disability once you start your medical evaluation board. And that's just one example, guys. And that's an easy way to set yourself up for success and to make sure that you are able to move into that next stage of your life once you leave the military, once the MEB process has concluded, and you get ready to start to pursue all those goals that you set in the earlier stages of this series. And I know that setting budgets can be very, very overwhelming, and I know that it can be scary to actually look at how much money you make compared to how much money you have to spend every month. But just take your time with it, look at your expenses, and if right now is not the right time to set a personal budget for a goal, then what you can do is you can set a personal budget to pay off additional expenses if your percentage of expenses is currently too high. So let's say that you make so much money, X amount of dollars, but you owe every single month 80% of your X amount. Take that additional 20%, save just enough money that, if you get a flat tire or something, you can take it in for service. Whatever's left over, go towards paying off that TV, paying off that car. Start deactivating excessive subscriptions. You don't need to be subscribed to fucking 600 streaming services. And you don't have to have like all of these memberships to all of these things. If you're spending $300 a month on the gym, let me tell you, stop doing that. Go outside and run. Do sit-ups, do push-ups. Save that $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year that you're spending to go to a fancy facility when all you got to do is go outside and pick up a heavy rock and run with it. That's all you got to do. Get yourself to the point to where your expenses are about 50% of your total available income. Then assess, create, set a goal, set a budget, a task-oriented budget, and start to progress towards that goal. Start to do it early. Get focused on this as soon as you can, because once you leave the Wounded Warrior Barracks, or once you leave the military, you separate. You are on your own. And if you walk out that door with $1,500 in the bank, you're going to have a tough road ahead of you. And 35% of the people that leave there are emotionally unstable. They have a lot of triggers due to combat. They have all of these disabling factors. They need all of these additional resources. Once you leave the military, you require more than the average person because you have experienced more than the average individual, and that costs money, it costs time, and it takes a toll on you. And if you do not prepare for that, the last thing that you want to do is add financial stress to what's already there, because it's going to make it very hard for you to move forward in a healthy way. Guys, I hope you got something out of this video. Hit me up if you have any questions. Like always, even if you don't realize it, even if you don't believe it, there's a warrior in every single one of you, and I see it. Take care, guys.